One is the loneliest number. That is an absolute fact. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Phightins Final here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network with your boy Matty B. And here we are. And how did we get here? The magic number is now one for the Philadelphia Phillies today as a result of their 8-1 victory in a rain-shortened, uh, endless baseball game that took them over 2 hours to complete 6 innings with the I think 2 or 3 rain delays that they went through. But 8-1 is the final today. The Phillies win, and then the Brewers and the Marlins, who I don't know if you guys have been watching any of this series this weekend. I watched a lot of it. Really good baseball between these two teams. But the Miami Marlins playing spoilers for the Brewers and helping us out again as they did back in 2007 as we were fighting against the Mets. Then this time it was against the Brewers, but they helped us out again by beating the Brewers 4-3 in 12 innings, thus helping us reduce our magic number to one game. And the Phillies are on the verge of potentially returning to the postseason for the first time since 2011. It'll be on to Houston tomorrow, and a chance to do that. Obviously, a lot about the Houston Astros doesn't match up well with the Phillies. I got all that. But there's a lot of hope and optimism. Really, the Phillies just got to win once, or the Brewers got to lose once, and that's it. It's over. And there's only one spot left in all of Major League Baseball, just one playoff spot left, and that's either going to go to the Phillies or the Brewers, as the Padres clinched at least a wild card today by beating the White Sox and pretty much beating up on the White Sox as they did all weekend. So feeling good, feeling confident, feeling happy, feeling concerned. I guess I could say I'm feeling all those tonight as the Phillies are in the verge of returning to the postseason, and a well documented incomplete team that the Phillies are today. The Bats continued to beat up on a lesser opponent as they really dominated the Nationals over the last couple of years in Nationals Park. Today was no different. A sloppy, rainy weekend all weekend long. They really tried their hardest to get all that baseball in. You would think that if it was under usual circumstances and this wasn't towards the end of the season, or if the Phillies weren't in a playoff race, some of these games might have gotten canceled and then just said the heck with it. But they fought hard. They fought hard to get these games in. They did. The Phillies battled through some adversity, ended up taking 3 out of 4 from the Nationals. And really, it's a shame they couldn't sweep, because if they would have swept, we'd be talking playoffs right now. But that's fine. So let's talk about today's 8-1 rain shortened affair. Let's go to the line. Phillies would finish the afternoon. Again, as I said, 6 innings was the final today. They didn't go more than 6 as they struggled to get to 6. 2 hours and 20 minutes to play 6 innings of baseball it's pretty hard. The Phillies would finish the day with 8 runs, 11 hits, and an error. The Nationals 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. How the scoring would happen, it got going in the second with Bryson Stott with fielder's choice in Nick Castellanos to make it 1-0 Phillies. And then in the fourth, Bryson Stott again, with this time we double in Gene Segura and Matt Verling to make it 3-0. Bryce Harper wasn't done for the Phillies in the fourth, as he would knock in Bryson Stott with a single and make it 4-0. And then Kyle Schwarber would break this thing wide open in the fifth as that bases loaded clearing single to make it 7-0. JT would add extra insurance in the sixth with a homer. Joey Meneses would ground out to a fielder's choice, scoring Lane Thomas 8-1 in the bottom of the sixth. And that's how the game was. It was initially, of course, suspended for another rain delay, but then they ended up calling it a game. And that's your final score, 8-1. On the line, officially, individually, Kyle Schwarber would go 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a walk. Rhys Hoskins 0 for 4. Bryce Harper 1 for 4. JT 1 for 3 with an RBI and a homer. Alec Boehm 1 for 4. Gene Segura 2 for 2 with 2 runs. Matt Verling 2 for 3 with a run. And Bryson Stott 2 for 3 with 2 runs and 3 RBIs. I am going to give today's offensive MVP award to Bryson Stott, who has been in a real bad. He's been slumping as of late. Battled his way out of it. Has been battling. Bryson Stott is the second baseman of the future for this team, folks, and it's good to see him hopefully getting himself right heading into the playoffs. For the Nationals, you look at Cesar Hernandez 1 for 2, Vargas 1 for 2, and then C.J. Abrams 1 for 3 as well. Highlighted their offensive push today, which was not much. Zach Wheeler would get credit for the win. He went 5 innings, threw a couple rain delays, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, looked very sharp. Andrew Bellotti would come on, pitch to 6. He gave up a hit and run. It was earned. He walked 1 and struck out 2. Wheeler is now 12-7 on the season, and that probably will be the end of Zach Wheeler until the playoffs. But you should feel good about the Zach Wheeler we're going to get in the playoffs because he seems to have rounded back into his form before the injury. So that was a positive sign. Patrick Corbin gets the loss, 6-19, 4.5, 10 hits, 7 runs. They were all earned, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. And Jordan Weems, who was ushered into the game, folks, in the bullpen mobile. I thought they did away with these things. When I see this baseball helmet of the national car with the little siren on top, I mean, how much of a dink do you think Jordan Weems felt like being driven into the game with this thing? There's no way I would do that. I don't care. I'm walking in, man. I'm not driving in the back of that thing. What's it, 1992? Come on, man. Get rid of that thing. It's an embarrassment. But after arriving in the baseball helmet mobile, Jordan from the bullpen, Jordan Weems went an inning and a third, gave up a hit, a run. It was earned. He struck out 1 and gave up 1 home run. And that's how you have it, folks. 8-1 Phillies. It is now on to Houston and the Astros as we finish up the 2022 season, and the playoffs hopefully are on the verge of being on the verge of being clinched here for the Phillies. Catherine says, thanks for the update, Clueless. I was in Hurricane Ian. Oh, God, Catherine, I hope all is well. I hope you're doing okay. And wow. Yes, so I'm glad I could help be of some aid to you. Yes, Phillies magic number is at 1, and they look to clinch the playoffs tomorrow, hopefully. And Chris Lentz says magic number is 1. Absolutely, Chris. The magic number is at 1. And how did we get to that magic number of 1? Well, that was today, folks, as the Marlins battled the Brewers, as they've been battling them all weekend. And it's been some great baseball to watch. This game went 12, and the Marlins were able to kind of hold on as they kind of coughed up the lead late. They had a 2-0 lead heading into the 8th. Milwaukee battled back, tied up at 2 in regulation, went to extras. Miami put a run on the board in the 10th, but then Milwaukee came back, tied it in the bottom of the 10th. No runs were scored in the 11th, and Miami got the 1 run in the 12th, and that was the run they were able to hold on for 4-3 as the Brewers fall to the Marlins. Thus, their season is now on life support. Checking on tomorrow's action, as we mentioned, the Phillies will be heading to Houston to battle the Astros. Aaron Nola will take his 10-13, 3.36 ERA, and he'll be opposed by Lance McCullers, who's 4-1 and 2.38. As for the Milwaukee Brewers, they will stay home and they will be facing the Arizona Diamondbacks. Tommy Henry will be going for the Diamondbacks 3-4 with 5.98 ERA. He'll be opposed by Milwaukee's Brandon Woodruff, who is 13-4 and a 3.05 ERA. Remember, folks, how this works. Either the Phillies win and they're in. The Brewers lose, the Phillies are in. The Brewers and Phillies both win, the Phillies are in. So it's really up to the Phillies. They hold their own fate in their hand. They hold all the cards. They also hold the tiebreaker. It's ours to lose now, folks, literally. So let's hope that we can end this thing tomorrow at the earliest. What's up, Matty? Power has generally been the name of the game for this offense, and unsurprisingly, especially so within the postage stamp confines of Citizen Bank Park. It's 107 home runs at home. Check in as the second most among National League East teams. Yeah, Sean, that's true, but as I've been saying for the last 159 games, we've seen it with our own eyes that power is not everything in Major League Baseball. When you're so heavily reliant upon that power, the Phillies go from hitting 5 home runs into a game and putting up 13 runs to hitting no home runs and not scoring any runs and leaving 9 people on base. The problem with the Phillies is we haven't unlocked the other side of the offense. Joe Girardi couldn't figure it out, and to be honest with you, Rob Thompson hasn't figured it out. Now, I don't know what the future holds. Obviously, if we're lucky enough to get to Friday against the Cardinals, by the way, if everything was to kind of hold on to it, to what it is right now, and the Phillies were to capture that final wild card spot. And listen, we're only a game and a half behind the Padres for that second spot. So that's not over yet. But let's call it the third wild card spot. The Phillies would then open a weekend series in St. Louis on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the team that they handled during the regular season. But are we going to be able to rely on long ball on a 3-game series? Because there is this 3-game series. We need you guys know how this thing works in playoff baseball. Every single pitch counts. Every single out is scrutinized. It's a pitch by pitch game. the hardcore baseball fans are going to spend the game watching it on their feet. I mean, and the way that this team has done it offensively, if we're going through one of those downslides where we can't seem to get runners home like we've been doing most of the season, and we're not hitting home runs, it'd be a very frustrating weekend. And that's what this team is. Yes, they are a power hitting machine, but unfortunately, they've not been able to sustain that for 158 games, and it's cost us. So we go into the playoffs. Everyone's 0-0. I understand that we're all 0-0, and now we have an opportunity to start it from there. But let's face it. I'm not sure how this is all going to play out, but that's the beautiful thing about baseball, Sean. Yeah. Edge of Philly sports. Big Brewers loss, absolutely. And as I mentioned, the Marlins continue to help us out when we need them. Back in 07, they did it for us when we were battling, trying to catch the Mets. There was that weekend series with the Marlins, and then that infamous Sunday game. Dontrell Willis versus Tom Glavine, and the Marlins were able to come through for us, and they did it again this weekend for us. So thank you to the Marlins as they continue to help us out when we need them. So let me go back up here. This doesn't make any sense unless I show you this one. So Chris asked, what would the playoff lineup look like for the Phillies? And of course, Sean, as he does all the time, comes out with his lineup right here. And you know what? Unfortunately, Chris, I think Sean's got something here. This is what the playoff lineup will probably look like. I don't think this is the right lineup, but this hasn't been the right lineup all season, and yet this is what it's been every game. Kyle Schwarber doesn't need to be leading off. Reese Hoskins not on number 2. But this is what they're going to hurt out, because we're at a point now where you can't upset the apple cart, as they say. This is what they're going to go with. This is the hill they're dying on. It's the wrong hill, but this is the hill they're going to die on. And this is, to me, not the optimal lineup. But this is what pretty much the lineup has looked like all season long, and we're gonna live and die with that. So, good job, Sean. You hit it on the head. And I bought my playoff tickets. Yep. And I definitely implore you, Phillies fans out there. Buy your tickets. You know, the worst thing that's going to happen is that the Phillies don't make it to the second round and get your money back. Buy your tickets. We need to start filling up Citizen Bank Park. It's been kind of embarrassing. And again, right now, the way things look, I mean, there's some fluid things going on. The Braves and Mets are going back and forth. Right now, the Braves are in first place. So we wouldn't technically see the Mets in the second round right now. We'd have to wait until the NLCS to see the Mets as things stand right now. But who knows? And hopefully it works out the way we all want it to work out, and we see the Mets soon. I couldn't agree more, but that's what they're good with, Manny. I know you're not a fan. No, I'm not a fan of it, and I've not been a fan of it all season, Sean. I think it's embarrassing on a lot of levels. It's absolutely embarrassing. Kyle Schwarber's not a leadoff hitter. Now, I was on the Kyle Schwarber leadoff hitter train in the beginning of the season, but I fell off that thing by like May 10th, and I was like, nah, this ain't working. But I don't know. I don't know why the stubbornness to leave him at leadoff. I really don't. Is it because we don't have a leadoff hitter to put in there? But I'd say no. At the very least, Segura leading off. You know what? Segura 1, what? Bohm 2, you know, and then go from, you know, Hoskins on down from there. I don't know. I just don't understand the reasoning around it. I don't. But all's well that ends well, folks. As the Phillies have reduced their magic number to 1. 1 Phillies win or 1 Brewers loss, and the Phillies will clinch. The final playoff spot remaining in Major League Baseball is this spot. So everybody else is in, with the exception of the final wild card team in the National League. And that hopefully will be figured out by tomorrow night at this time. Or, no. Is it a day game tomorrow? I don't think it is. What is it? Nope, we got an 8:10 start. So a little later, but yeah, and the Brewers are at 7:40. So by tomorrow night, later on at this time, hopefully, we're talking about a playoffs. Do you switch Stott and Schwarber? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you move Schwarber that far down the lineup. I don't know. I think you move him around six. I think batting him seventh or eighth is a little too low. Maybe sixth. Sixth. Yeah. I'd put him down six. What would you do this trade? Nolan Hoskins for two solid players, just one of them. That's actually been kind of floated out a little bit ago, Sean, about Nolan Hoskins. Listen, I don't know if you go that route because we have some interesting situations going on with the starting rotation. Obviously, you got Painter and Abel working their way up through the minors. When the Painter won the National League or won the Minor League Player of the Year this year, pretty solid honor. A lot of people are expecting to see him in camp. I think you'll see both of them in camp next year. I don't think neither one of them make the Phillies out of camp next year, but Painter probably shows up at some point in 2023, and then Abel probably definitely in 2024. But I don't know if if you go ahead and mortgage the future with Nola right now. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but it'd have to be a really interesting offer. And to make the matter worse is that when you mention trading Hoskins, nobody I don't think in their right minds taking Hoskins one for one. They're not taking they're going to want something more. So Nola would be the obvious sweetener to a Rhys Hoskins trade. But you might be upsetting that rotation just a little bit a year too soon. So I don't know if Nola's the trade bait that I use next year along with Rhys Hoskins. I'm not sure, depending on what somebody else is going to offer me. We definitely need more bullpen help. You know, we're definitely going to need some more bench depth. I need more hitters off the bench that can actually hit. I don't need these journeyman 200 hitters that bounce up and up from here down to AAA. I need professional utility men in Major League Baseball. But other than that, I don't necessarily need a superstar. I mean, I'm telling you, we're not that far off of being a solid legit team. We're a Trey Turner away from being that team. But there's some top heavy dead weight on this team that needs to be moved, and Rhys Hoskins is part of that. And but I don't know if I sweeten it up with Aaron Nola. I think we're 1 year too soon with trying to upset the rotation like that. I believe so. So I don't know, but I definitely am looking to move Hoskins, 100%. Walter says, "Go Phils." Yep. Does Bailey Falter make the rotation? F him through the bullpen. Are you speaking of? Does he make the rotation for the playoffs? There better be no way in hell that he does. He better be a bullpen piece. Zach Eflin better come out of the bullpen and assume his role as a starting pitcher. It better be our standard starting rotation. The three pitchers for next week against St. Louis better be Wheeler, Nola, Eflin. Everybody else is in the bullpen. Everybody else is available to come out of that bullpen. But your starting three should be Wheeler, Nola, Eflin. Hands down. No more arguments about that. Bailey Falter's been a great news story, and he's done great when he's in there. But I'm not looking for some no voodoo magic. I don't want all that. No, just get him in the bullpen. He's a young guy. Put him there. You get the guys out, and you put the starting rotation together. They're your top three. They're all healthy. Pitch them the way they're supposed to be pitched, 1, 2, and 3, and then roll the dice on everything else. That, to me, is my starting lineup. So I say no, Sean. Bailey Falter is in the rotation or in the bullpen for the playoffs. I say break the bank to get Trey Turner. Harper is going to entice him. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely 100% agree. Agree. And Sean says, "Oh, no for next year." Oh, okay. Then, that's an interesting question. We're going to need a 4, right? Kyle Gibson ain't coming back. There ain't no way in hell Kyle Gibson's coming back. Noah Syndergaard, I'm not too sold on letting him walk away. I think maybe a 1-year deal. Again, the bridge to Painter and Abel is what I'm looking at in 2023. I need to hold down my rotation for 1 more year until these two can crack it. So I'm willing to give Syndergaard a 1-year deal next year. I think to kind of solidify that number 4 role, or Bailey Falter. If it doesn't work out with Syndergaard, but I'm not going to go out there and break the bank on a number 4 pitcher when we have potentially a candidate in Bailey Falter. So that's an interesting question. I think he should be given the opportunity in camp to break the rotation, but and I think for very least bit, he'll make the bullpen out of camp next summer or next spring. But I don't want to talk about next spring. I want to talk about this week coming up. Okay. I'm glad I could, Sean. So listen, folks, it's been a busy day here in Philadelphia. Busy rain-soaked day where we saw both our teams, the Eagles and the Phillies, win big. Win big. Uh, you know, Eagles beating the Jacksonville Jaguars earlier today, and then of course the Phillies outlasting Mother Nature and beating the Nationals 8-1 tonight to pull within one game of a playoff berth in 2022. Our farm system really develops our prospects in pitching. It definitely seems that way, Sean. It seemed that way in the future, in the past, but right now, you got Payne voted as a minor league of the year. That's interesting. I don't, that's. Listen, I'm not looking for the development of the entire system right now. I'm interested in two young men, two pitchers right now. So, um, but I think they're getting better. I think the system's getting better. I think they're going to be better as we move forward and begin to kind of wipe away the Matt Klentak, Andy McPhail years. So, but yeah, that's my thing on that. You too, Sean. It's been a hell of a day. Everyone, go and enjoy yourselves. I hope you enjoyed our coverage of Eagles football today on EOP. Let's take a look at that real quick, by the way. Um, Today down at the South House, you had a conglomeration of EOP and painted lines individuals. Big Al was on hand. Dives. The Gobbler was there. I saw a few other James Scores that Joe Marks. They were all featured, but we did some pregame and some postgame on location stuff down at the South House. Outstanding work by them guys. I don't agree with their opinions when it comes to the Eagles, but that's not what this is about. It's about acknowledging professionalism, and they were definitely on their game today down there at the South House. So I hope you were able to check it out. And if you didn't, maybe it's because you were at the gatehouse because you were on your way to the game. If you weren't at either spot, then you better get up on your game and get over to Philly Sports Trips to check out all that they have to offer. Don't forget, they do a tailgate for every home game, and then they also have the trips. The next one is next week. They're heading out to Arizona as the Eagles prepare for their Week 5 matchup against the Cardinals. So head over to the Philly Sports Trip and figure out how to get involved in all that. And if you're having if life has been good to you, but then it throws you a curveball or two, this is the man you want to call, Dave Cherry, 610-560-0300. Workman's comp, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, and criminal law. When you call him, tell him Matty B and the boys at EOP sent you. Folks, that's going to wrap me up today, too. A long day. A long day, but it was a fruitful day. It saw the Philadelphia Eagles win, and it also saw the Phillies win. Game number 158 in the books, or is it 159 in the books? We got 3 left. It's in Houston against the Astros. I know what you're saying. I'm saying it too. Uh-oh. This was a series that I remember way back in March or actually way back last year when the schedule came out. Like, okay, good. It's scheduled for late March. We can get it out of the way with right off the bat. We don't have to worry about it. And of course, the lockout happens. That series was taken and moved to the back of the season, and then it has been looming ever since. And now we've gotten to it. Phillies Astros. Definitely, maybe not as much on the line as for the Astros as it is for the Phillies. Not saying that they're going to get a second-rate product because I think the Astros' second-rate players are potentially better than the Phillies' first-rate players. But the Phillies have to go out and win. There's no other way around this. We got to handle our business. I told you this a couple of days ago. Today was it. There's no more cupcakes after this. The Phillies have faced their final below 500 team, non-playoff team. For the rest of the 2022 season. It's all playoff teams, and it's all teams above 500 from this point forward for the Phillies. There's no getting around that, folks. It starts tomorrow, and it won't end until the season ends for them. So you got to start getting that mindset that you got to go out and beat the best now because it's time. It is time. There's no more Nationals, no more Marlins, no more Pirates, no more Diamondbacks, none of those teams left on your schedule. It's all teams that are going to the playoffs, literally, and above 500. So the Phillies will start that tomorrow in Houston. Aaron Nola looks to get us to the playoffs. So until we talk again tomorrow night, and hopefully we're talking as an NL wildcard team tomorrow night, I will leave you like I leave you every week here on the show. But that is with a look back at the week in Philadelphia Phillies home runs. Go Phils. We'll talk tomorrow.
It's a knock.
And that one is crushed. Deep to right field toward the pole. It is gone. A home run inside the pole. And the Phillies are on the board. It's a 2-1 game. Number 41 for Kyle Schwarber. That ball's hit well out to left field. On the run is Rosario. It's over his head, and it's into the flower bed. Opposite field home run for Kyle Schwarber. It's second home run of the day, and the Phillies retake the lead. It's number 42.
John, don't you hate to be 2 for 2 with 2 home runs?
Yeah. As far as the offense is concerned.
Fly ball right center field. That's pretty well hit. Thomas is going back toward the scoreboard. It is gone! And a great start for the Phils as Rhys Hoskins goes the opposite way. His 30th home run of the year. It's 1-0 Philadelphia.
To try to get some of, especially the left-handers, out with in 2-strike situations.
Kyle Schwarber launches one deep to right field, and how about that? The Phillies with a 1-0 lead. Into the second deck, number 43.
Well, you didn't give me a chance to talk about how many home runs he can give up, because he gave up 16 home runs in the minor leagues, and he's given up 2 home runs in the big leagues so far this year. 18 home runs.
Where he wouldn't get a hitter for a game or two. It wouldn't last more than that. That ball's hit well out to left center field. Cesar's going back. He got into that one. It's gone. Into the Phillies bullpen. A 2-run home run. It's 4-0 Phillies.
Well, he got back into it in a huge way. Nice to see the Phillies.
That one's deep down the right field line. Fair or foul. If it's fair, it's gone. It is a fair ball home run. Deep into the Nationals bullpen. Back to back. Bohm and Marsh. It's a 5-0 Phillies lead. With either one of them.
Scorched them both.
That ball's hit well out to left field. Cesar's going back. This one is gone. 2-run home run for Vierling. The kids are waking up the offense. Now the Phillies lead it 7-0. Matt Vierling has 3 runs batted in. That ball is crushed to straightaway center field, and it's gone. Up the hill. It's his second home run of the night. He has 44. Now the Phillies right now are teeing off on a young man that, well, may not be long for this game, but just is not fooling them.
No, he's sort of unarmed. I mean, he doesn't really have the stuff to.
He had high hopes. He had high hopes. He had high apple pie in the sky.